Hello there, deep and wide thinker. Today's video, I want to kind of just go over what I've been thinking about the last few months, the future of this channel, just where it's headed and the direction that I want to take it. And when I pause and I think deeply about this, my heart really comes back to the three things. I want to help you see clearly, shape creatively, and share freely. This vision and this mission feels personal because it's a journey that I've walked myself and am currently walking. For years, I held back from creating and writing, paralyzed by fear of what others might think. All right, even now, it's sometimes something that I wrestle with. But the truth is, creating is one of the most powerful things that we can do as humans. It's really about letting the eternity inside of us flow out in our unique expression. And I want this channel to inspire you to discover the creative genius within you. Right? You have the ability to see connections that no one else would notice and to communicate those in ways that deeply impact the people that you are called to serve and to impact. And I believe this all happens through a simple but powerful and transformative process. It is the see, shape, share process. So in this video, I want to walk through this process using a moment from my own life that literally happened a few days ago when I discovered a heart-shaped leaf. And I want to show you how it can serve as a framework for your creativity. The first phase we have is see. On one of my morning walks, I happened to notice a heart-shaped leaf, and it was right by this kind of windy tree that I stop by. Every time that I walk, I stop and I pause and I pull out like a physical field notebook, and I've been doing this for about a month or so as far as the field notebook. And I write down what I'm grateful for. I write down maybe a scripture. I write down maybe a quote. I write down just something that is inspiring to me. And I just kind of pause for a moment. But on this day, I don't remember if it was before or after I wrote down what I was writing down, but something caught my attention. There was like a pop of color to my left. And this happened because I was living slowly, right? If I'm going to see, if I'm going to perceive things, I need to live slowly. And so I like to live slowly by walking without any noise, without any distractions, without podcasts. There is a time for podcasts, without videos, without music even. I'm a huge fan of listening to music while I write, but the idea here is to just walk in nature and slow down. So seeing begins with slowing down. In our fast-paced lives, it's easy to miss the little things, the little heart-shaped leaves that can possibly carry meaning. And by snapping a picture of that leaf, I captured a moment that resonated with me. A moment that maybe no one else might have noticed, or maybe they would notice it, but maybe they wouldn't appreciate it the same way that I would. Hey, I want to pause real quick and give you a free gift for hanging out with me today in this video. This is a free guide that will walk you through two of my go-to note-making processes and methods. Not more tips on how to capture and organize your notes. These methods actually help you to process the information and the things that resonated with you into your version, into making surprising connections that you wouldn't have thought of. And I want to give it to you for free. If you end up implementing these two methods, you'll never have to worry about getting stuck creatively. You'll have a flowing river of unique ideas, your unique ideas for projects that you're working on. You'll discover sticky analogies. This is powerful. Sticky analogies to help you spice up your ideas. And finally, you'll create a rhythm to slow down and think deeply more often. If you'd like to get your hands on this free gift, just click the link in the description. All right, let's get back to it. We have to remember that every creative endeavor begins with noticing and collecting. And after you've noticed something, after you have seen something, after your eyes have been opened, then we move to shape, right? Shaping is processing what you've captured and giving it form. You are the potter molding the clay. So as I continued to walk, I thought more about this heart-shaped leaf. Here's a picture of it, heart-shaped leaf. Let me show you right here. There it is. I began to just think about what I just experienced and what I was seeing in this image. What did it represent? What did it mean to me? Uh, and I often find that both walking and the actual environment, so walking in nature, will spark my best ideas. It's the movement combined with the environment that I feel like my mind can actually wander freely. So I jotted down every thought that came to mind, and this was just a brain dump of raw ideas. And this is a crucial step in the shaping process, getting everything out before you try to organize it. My mind wants to try to organize things as I write them down, but I have to kind of pause and say, you know what, this is not the time for that. I want to just allow my mind to flow and get things out. Something else that happened as I was reviewing my notes, you can see them in a different note-taking app. I've been talking about Heptabase for a while. I still really like Heptabase, but I've been experimenting with Mem because one of the really powerful things about Mem is the ability to surface up or resurface related notes. So on the right-hand side, this is not a note-taking a note-taking video per se, but I just was going to quickly show you on the right-hand side. You're looking at these notes here on the right are related to this note called the future of this channel, see, shape, and share. What I'm actually telling you right now. These notes have been automatically seen as related. Now, not everyone is going to speak to me, but this allows me to find connections that I maybe wouldn't have thought of on the surface of my mind. So I'm really with the intent of creating more this year, with the intent of writing more this year, and not just storing information, not just thinking deep and wide, but also sharing. And that, with that in mind, I want tools that will help support that vision. So I'm experimenting with Mem as a way to help me see, shape, and share. My point was I began to review the related notes to the heart-shaped leaf lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up real quick. Heart-shaped. All right, you can see on the right-hand side, things are beginning to bubble up related to this note. It's still kind of working right here too. And as I was reviewing that on my phone, I noticed a note that was titled, titled, "There is a right or heaven sent time for everything." It's a Bible verse, Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. And it was a note that I had written some time ago. But as I was considering what this picture meant to me, the image meant to me of the heart-shaped leaf, I saw this note and I realized this is a great note and a great thought that kind of helps solidify what I'm thinking about as it relates to the heart-shaped leaf. These connections, they bring depth and color to our ideas, colors that we may not have thought of that would mix well with what we're currently using. So I really, really like that Mem is bubbling up notes and thoughts and ideas that may be related to what I'm working on, without me really having to really search for notes or go into a certain collection or a tag or whatever. It's just it does it for me, and so I really like that. Okay, let's get back over here to the shape process. I went on a mem tangent for a second. The idea is to find an environment that helps your creativity and your mind flow, whether it's walking, journaling, whatever, however that looks like. Mine is walking and also mind dumping. I really like to write when I walk. So find whatever that is. The environment could be a coffee shop for you. I have no idea, but find your shaping environment. What does that look like? Where are you? And what is the environment like? Is it kind of crazy and loud, like a coffee shop? There's things going on, and you may like that. It may help you focus. Or is it a place that's more reflective and quiet and calm and peaceful? Try out different environments to see what works for you. And then finally, the share phase. So I noticed a heart-shaped leaf in the midst of like a wintry background. It stood out to me, and it was beautiful, right? But I didn't stop there. I didn't just notice. I wanted to shape it. I began to think about, what does this mean? And I began to write down my thoughts. And then I thought, I need to tell somebody about this. And that's the share. It's not enough to see and to shape. We need to share. Otherwise, our impact will stay limited just to ourselves. Well, there's value in creating for yourself and for personal growth, but sharing multiplies the impact. It's incredible what happens when you tell somebody about what stood out to you, what fascinated you that day. So share your work, share your ideas, your perspective, whether with a friend on social media, in a blog, on Substack, anywhere that your voice can reach. I'm going to end this with the heart-shaped leaf. I'd like to read to you what came of it, right? So when I take my morning walks, I like to pause at the same spot to jot down or scripture or reflect on what I'm grateful for. It only takes a few minutes, but it's become a meaningful habit. Now today, as I stopped, I noticed a heart-shaped leaf surrounded by a wintry backdrop of bare branches. And it got me thinking about how the season looks and feels different in so many ways. Like the scene before me, what once was is no longer there. And change is hard. I often catch myself trying to hold on to what used to be, but that's not how God designed the seasons. Like, there may be a little bit of overlap, but eventually the leaves must fall. You can't revive the fallen leaves. They were not meant to be revived. They were meant to be let go. They were meant to let go, making space for something new. And I love how God highlighted this truth to me today, because it beautifully illustrates how seasons bring both an outward and an inward transformation. Your heart is changing in this season. God is at work in it, and He's working through it. And while what He's working on may not feel good in the moment, it will be good in the end. If it's not good yet, He's not finished. Think about the first 6 days of creation. It wasn't until the work was complete that God called it good. This is not the end. This is not the final state of your heart. But even in transformation, even in its transformation, it's still beautiful. There is a right heaven-sent time for everything. Ecclesiastes 3, verses 1, or verse 1. So that's what I ended up sending off to on Substack to my email list. Right? If you wanna check it out, it's Parable Moments on Substack. I'll try to leave a link in the description so that you can check that out if you want to. But this is one of the places where I'm trying to share, and I'm trying to tell people about what it is that God is showing me, or what it is that I just found fascinating that day, right? So I'd love to hear from you. Which phase do you want to grow most in? Is it seeing? Is it shaping? Is it sharing? Or what part of this process do you struggle with? Let me know in the comments. And I hope that this year is filled for you with seeing, shaping, and sharing.